So let's just get right into this explainer. We're going to be unraveling the incredibly complex, practically invisible webs that track our digital footprints. More specifically, we're looking at how this technology is used to seamlessly track activity between multiple devices, locking your phone, your laptop, and your tablet into one inescapable net. If you think flicking on a VPN or clearing your cookies keeps you totally anonymous online, well, you are in for a major paradigm shift today. We're going to deconstruct exactly how modern systems track us using this redundant federation of identifiers that survive pretty much anything you throw at them.
Okay, picture this. It's April 2026, and we've got a real-world mystery. A 19-year-old named Peter Stokes, who was wanted for an $8 million ransomware breach of a U.S. luxury jewelry retailer, gets intercepted by Finnish police at Helsinki airport. He had two 2-terabyte hard drives on him and a one-way ticket to Japan. But here's the really fascinating part. Stokes was a highly sophisticated guy. He relied heavily on VPNs, proxy servers, the whole 9 yards, and he routed his traffic through multiple countries. Yet authorities tracked his exact machine anyway.
So how'd they do it? Well, the unsealed federal complaint actually gives away the secret. It turns out Microsoft handed the FBI a Global Device Identifier, or GDID. And look at this direct quote from the complaint. It describes the GDID as a persistent device-level identifier designed to uniquely identify an installation of a Windows operating system. So Stokes wasn't tracked by his IP address at all. He was literally tracked by the inherent digital fingerprint of his own operating system. Which, of course, brings us to the ultimate question, right? If he was meticulously masking all of his internet traffic, how on earth did his own hardware betray him to authorities? Why didn't his network-level concealment work? To figure that out, we have to completely rethink how digital tracking actually operates today, and that means starting at the browser and working our way all the way down to the bare metal. To really grasp this, we first need to contrast traditional tracking cookies with modern browser fingerprinting. Look, cookies are basically old news. They are just these small pieces of data stored on your device that you can easily go in and delete or block. Fingerprinting, on the other hand, it doesn't rely on stored data at all. Instead, it uses a high-entropy identifier that basically means it scoops up dozens of tiny, subtle signals about your device to build a highly accurate probabilistic profile. And that profile remains completely stable, even if you clear your data or browse in incognito mode. And honestly, the rabbit hole goes incredibly deep here. Your browser is constantly broadcasting these seemingly harmless details. We're not just talking about your time zone or your screen resolution. We're talking about how your specific graphics card draws a hidden 3D image, and the tiny microscopic pixel distortions that result from that, or how your browser processes audio waves. Even the exact cryptographic algorithms your system uses during a secure handshake. When you combine all of these, they create a unique signature of your hardware and software that is practically impossible to mask.
But let's move beyond the browser for a second and look at network-level tracking. Now, recently, operating systems started randomizing their MAC addresses to try and protect user privacy on Wi-Fi networks. But enterprise networks can actually defeat that modern MAC address randomization completely. When your device connects with a fake MAC address, the authentication server just correlates other identity signals to generate a 128-bit persistent device identifier, or PDID. It then uses the radius protocol to send this PDID right back to the network. So it just continuously tracks your session, no matter how many times your device tries to rotate its MAC address.
Section 1. The OS Identifier Mesh. 4 planes of persistent identity. If you thought browser and network tracking was intense, the operating system level is where things get truly inescapable. Check out this reset resistance matrix. It shows the mesh, a redundant federation of trackers built straight into Windows. Notice that if you use a VPN, every single identifier persists. A VPN hides your network, it does not hide your device. Now, most people think wiping their hard drive gives them a fresh start. But actually, while a clean OS reinstall will rotate your GDID on the identity and telemetry planes, the hardware-linked activation and attestation planes survive completely intact because they're physically tied to your motherboard. And because of those surviving hardware keys, we get something called the re-anchoring process. If you cut one thread by completely reinstalling Windows to try and escape being tracked, the mesh just re-anchors itself. Literally, on your very first internet connection, your machine reaches out to Microsoft to auto-activate its digital license using that surviving hardware fingerprint. Boom. The server instantly links your newly minted quote-unquote clean GDID right back to your old device profile. You literally never escaped. Section 2. Tracking across multiple devices. The Connected Devices Platform. Now we're getting to the core of what we're talking about today. How this tech tracks activity between multiple devices. Because in our modern ecosystem, your phone, your tablet, your laptop, they aren't viewed as separate things. They are interconnected nodes. And at the heart of this is the identity graph. Think of it as a master directory. It pulls in all those persistent identifiers from your PC, tablet, and smartphone. Now sure, Microsoft uses this graph to power super convenient features like the cloud clipboard. But at the exact same time, it is building a completely unified, comprehensive surveillance profile of your entire hardware ecosystem. Let's walk through exactly how this cross-device tracking executes in real time. Say you set up a new Windows PC. Right away, a background service assigns it a passport-unique ID. Then, the absolute second you sign into your smartphone or any other device with that same Microsoft account, the Connected Devices platform kicks in. It instantly merges the distinct telemetry of both devices into a single identity graph. So any compartmentation you thought you had between, say, your personal phone and your work laptop, it's completely destroyed the second those accounts touch. Now, you might be wondering, okay, can I just escape this cross-device mesh by opting out? Like, what if you just never sign into a Microsoft account on your phone? Or what if you aggressively delete your explicit identifiers and only use local accounts across all your different hardware? Well, unfortunately, the mesh has a backup plan, a join key of last resort. It's called passive OS layer fingerprinting. Even without explicit identifiers like a GDID, the operating system is continually broadcasting routine diagnostic telemetry in the background. And this data carries such a dense payload of hardware and configuration attributes that it acts as an inescapable hardware fingerprint. It is completely capable of reclustering your device identity all on its own. Honestly, it's almost comical how much data is in just one event. Take the Census hardware log, for example. It reports your mobile network tracking codes for dual SIMs, exactly how many active microphones you have attached, whether you have a gyroscope, who made your motherboard, and a specific hash of your hardware fields. I mean, that is a terrifyingly detailed and unique profile of your specific machine. It's shipped off constantly, and it identifies you through your specific configuration rather than a simple serial number. Which brings us right back to why Peter Stokes was caught and exposes what I call the ultimate VPN fallacy. A VPN only changes the external source IP address to mask your network route, but OS-integrated telemetry, like Microsoft's Smart Screen URL Reputation Service, operates totally differently. It sends the URLs you visit bundled with your permanent device identifier embedded right inside the packet header. So Microsoft correlated Stokes' identity using the stable device ID stamped on the packet itself, meaning his rotating VPN IP addresses, they were completely irrelevant to the tracking mechanism. Section 3. The dual-use reality. The mesh as a defender asset. Now, interestingly, there is another side to this coin. The exact same mesh that creates these massive privacy liabilities for us as individuals is actually an incredibly powerful tool for enterprise cybersecurity defenders. The persistence of these identifiers is a feature, not a bug, for securing large networks. If a hacker tries to wipe a compromised machine to cover their tracks, defenders look for a plain divergence. That's where a device suddenly reports a fresh identity, but its underlying TPM hardware certificate remains exactly the same. It's a huge red flag that instantly detects cloned virtual machines or anti-forensic wiping. So what does this mean for us? For individual users who want to minimize this tracking across their devices, there are a few steps you can take, even though totally evading it is tough. First, shifting to local accounts instead of cloud accounts helps sever that identity graph link between your phone and your PC. Also, go in and turn off optional diagnostic data, block personalized ad tracking in your OS settings, and use privacy-focused browsers that actively scramble those fingerprinting APIs. Those are definitely your best first lines of defense. But I want to leave you with this provocative thought. As our laptops, tablets, and phones increasingly intertwine their telemetry to map out our habits, and our very hardware inherently betrays us to this massive cross-device identity graph, are we permanently sacrificing the ability to ever truly be anonymous online? Something to think about. Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer, and we will see you next time as we continue to decode the systems running our world.